They're out here to protect and serve us. For anything, they're always there.
A fallen police officer is laid to rest. How the community paid their respects to Officer Burke Rhodes.
The Franklin County man accused of stealing thousands of dollars worth of wild turkey bourbon appears in court today.
With spring only a few days away, is it too early to start planning for your garden? We'll tell you coming up.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good evening. He's accused of stealing thousands of dollars worth of bourbon. Today, Gilbert Kurtzinger was back in front of a judge.
He was arrested last week, accused of stealing 5 barrels of wild turkey bourbon and hiding it in his backyard. Jordan Valines was at the hearing in Franklin County. She talked to the sheriff today on just how rare this type of case is. It's our top story at 5:30.
The Franklin County Sheriff's Office says it's one of the biggest cases they've ever worked involving guns, steroids, and stolen barrels of bourbon. Earlier today, the man accused of possessing those items appeared in court.
Most agencies, you might have a case like this once in a career, and we've had 2 in 3 years.
2 cases involving large amounts of stolen bourbon. The most recent case involving this man, 45-year-old Gilbert Kurtzinger. He faces a multitude of charges after sheriff's deputies say they found 5 stolen barrels of a 2008 wild turkey bourbon behind a storage shed on Kurtzinger's property last week.
Having 5 whole barrels of bourbon, I've never seen that before. It's the first time in my career that I've seen anything like that.
He says each barrel is worth anywhere from $3,700 to $6,000 and can hold about 48 gallons of bourbon.
It's a lot. And when you got 5 of them, that's a whole lot.
Kurtzinger appeared in court today, but his preliminary hearing ended up being pushed back. His attorney says they need more time to review information.
Obviously, he made some very poor decisions. And I think all that, I think he realizes that, and at the end of the day, I think justice will be served in this case.
Sheriff Melton is not ruling out whether or not this case could be connected to the 2013 theft of Pappy Van Winkle. In Frankfort, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
Gilbert Kurtzinger faces charges of receiving stolen property, possession of a controlled substance, and drug paraphernalia.
They came out to say goodbye. Today, hundreds of people gathered at Southland Christian Church in Nicholasville to honor a police officer killed last week in a crash. Police officers, sheriff's deputies, firefighters, and EMS crews all filled the church to celebrate Officer Burke Rhodes' life. After that service, Nicholasville police led the funeral procession to Camp Nelson Cemetery, where Officer Rhodes was buried. Along the procession route, the community lined the streets. Garrett Weimer shows us how the community paid their last respects.
They lined the streets long before.
It's nice to watch the community come together and support what's going on today.
Waiting to pay their respects, honoring a man who dedicated his life to serving their community.
They're out here to protect and serve us. For anything, they're always there.
With their flags and in their hearts, saying goodbye to Officer Rhodes.
I think it's a great honor to stand here to honor our fallen man. I worked with his wife at the Early Learning Village. She's a terrific lady, and her husband is a terrific man. He's going to be sorely missed.
With every car that passes, another reminder of Officer Rhodes' service and what he meant to those here.
I think it's great. I'm glad everybody showed up, and having all the departments from all over is a great support for the police.
The procession down Main Street, passing the police department, a somber send-off as the community says goodbye, thanking Officer Rhodes in whatever way they can.
It's kind of sad, you know, that it happened this way, you know, and I think it's good for the city to support them in a time of need.
In Nicholasville, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
The procession today ended at Camp Nelson National Cemetery, where Officer Rhodes was buried.
A tragic accident in northern Kentucky. A 5-year-old dies after a backyard incident. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Pendleton County. The sheriff's office says the girl got tangled up in a strap attached to a slide that she was playing on. They say the girl was playing with her father and some other children at the home on Vader Road last night. The girl's name has not been released. In Madison County, a man has life-threatening injuries after being hit by a truck. The sheriff's office says the crash happened last night around midnight near Big Hill Road and Honeysuckle Court. Deputies say the driver of the truck, 26-year-old Zachary Lanehart, hit 68-year-old Robert Jackson. Jackson was taken to UK hospital with serious injuries. Lanehart told deputies that Jackson walked out in front of his truck and he couldn't avoid the accident. No arrests have been made. And in Harrison County, a woman is in jail accused of not taking care of more than a dozen animals on her property. According to an arrest warrant, Janet Arvola did not provide food, water, or medical care to 12 horses, a donkey, and 3 cats that lived on her property along Hendricks Lane. We're told one horse needed immediate medical attention. Animal control took all the animals away from the property.
After a pretty nice day with temperatures in the low 60s, we're starting to see those temperatures drop, and today's cooler air is just the beginning. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell is tracking what's heading our way, and it's going to go lower and lower
and lower and lower into the nighttime hours we go. We could be talking about upper 20s by tomorrow morning as we start the middle of the week. Entering the daytime hours tomorrow, we won't even be where we are out there right now, which is in the 50s and 60s in most locations. You can see Richmond coming in with that 57-degree reading, and Frankfort coming in at 60 degrees, Richmond at 57, and then 60 here in Lexington as well. So pretty pleasant. I mean, it's cooler than yesterday, but it's still a very nice evening out there. Other spots, we can plot more warmth down in southern and eastern Kentucky with those low and mid 60s showing up. Somerset, London, out toward Jackson, all coming in right around the same area as far as temperatures are concerned. But there's nothing spring-like this week, okay? First, we have temps dropping below freezing. We might have that a couple of times. Then we track flake potential coming your way, maybe early on Thursday morning. And then overall, as we run from this point and into your Friday, we're running below average for daytime highs, 40s and 50s. Once we get into Wednesday, Thursday, and even into Friday, we should be around 55, 56 degrees. And we likely won't be there other than today. We'll track all of this coming up for you in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Jim. And with the warmer weather the last few days and people celebrating St. Patrick's Day, you may be starting to get a green thumb.
Yeah, many people are thinking spring and starting to plan out their garden. Mike Linden talked to gardening shop owners about when you should start that planting. It's a story that's new at 5:30.
With warmer temperatures comes thoughts of spring, and with thoughts of spring comes gardening. But is it too early to plant? Some experts say no.
When things are dormant, they're not pushing bud. It's a great opportunity to take advantage of that. You can get them in the ground soon, and then Mother Nature waters them for you.
While it might be early for certain plants vulnerable to cold temperatures, Behringer says as we work our way into the spring season, planning and preparation is key to having a successful garden.
You want to add, peat moss and compost. If you've raked up your leaves, and what I usually do is run them over with a lawnmower, get it real fine, and then you can amend the soils that way.
Behringer says due to the snow and rain Kentucky saw to close out the winter season, soil is moister than normal. This can lead to roots not developing in certain plants.
The soil profile is really saturated now, but that doesn't take long to dry out. I mean, we're above normal even already for this month of March.
While some may wait until Derby Day to plant, others are raring to go.
If you're into plants, it's an addiction, and I think I am, so I hope that everybody has a good growing season this year. We deserve it after that winter we've just been through.
In Nicholasville, Mike Linden, WKYT.
I agree. We do deserve it. Behringer says mid-May is the best time of year to plant outdoors. Road crews continue to clean up what the winter weather left behind for us. The state transportation cabinet says workers in Lexington have finished pothole repairs on part of New Circle. They will continue to work in Lexington as needed. State road crews are now making their way around Scott County. Tomorrow they'll be repairing potholes on Kentucky 227.
In honor of St. Patrick's Day, we're answering a good question about the Irish in Lexington. How deep are the Irish roots in Lexington? The Bluegrass Irish Society estimates there are about 700,000 people with Irish ancestry in Kentucky. And the Irish have deep roots in Lexington. They go back to at least the late 1700s, immigrating to Lexington. Many Irish also left their homeland around 1845 because of the potato famine and settled in Lexington. In fact, about 1 million Irish total came to the U.S. during that time. Some of the first Irish in Lexington settled in what's known as Irish Town. That's a neighborhood just west of downtown Lexington near Manchester Street. Some who lived there in the early years were stonemasons who helped build the many stone walls that you see around the Bluegrass. The Irish also brought to Kentucky their love of horses, clogging, and music. If you have a good question, go to WKYT.com, and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Republican candidate for governor Matt Bevin hits the campaign trail in Lexington trying to get his message out.
Bill Bryant talked to Bevin and tells us what Bevin believes Kentucky's biggest problem is in the bottom line.
Good evening. Republican candidate for governor Matt Bevin was in Lexington campaigning today as he tries to establish himself as the most conservative candidate on both fiscal and social matters. He came by WKYT for a Kentucky Newsmakers interview. Bevin, who ran and lost the GOP Senate nomination to Mitch McConnell last year, jumped into this year's governor's race. In a WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass poll released last week, Bevin was tied with Agriculture Commissioner James Comer for second place. They trailed Louisville businessman and former council member Hal Heiner, but led former Supreme Court Justice Will T. Scott. Bevin says the nation and the state are at a crossroads.
And that is that we have got some serious issues to be addressed in our country. We are not in good shape financially, and if we do not make some very intentional decisions with respect to what we are doing to create wealth, create jobs, create opportunities for people, we are going to be in trouble.
Bevin says Kentucky's biggest problem right now is underfunded pension money. The Kentucky Newsmakers interview will run in its entirety this weekend. Former Fayette County Judge Executive John Larson is running for the GOP nomination for state treasurer. He says he would work to eliminate the position if he's elected. But in an interview with CN2, he would not say whether he would take the $115,000 salary if he's elected. He called the post antiquated, but under questioning for pure politics about the pay, Larson said he is not sure what the time commitment would be to run the office. Kentucky Congressman Hal Rogers asked some tough questions and gave stern advice to the director of the U.S. Secret Service today. Joe Clancy appeared before the committee that Rogers chairs to explain recent problems with the agency in charge of White House security. There'll be more on that later from CBS News. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
As more states legalize medical marijuana, some people in eastern Kentucky still think it's a bad idea for the state.
And despite proposed legislation that would legalize medical marijuana, the director of the National Marijuana Initiative argues it would add to Kentucky's illicit drug use. Today, the director was in Pike County expressing his concern the legalization of medical marijuana would open the door for the drug to get into the wrong hands.
The unintended consequence, should Kentucky go down this path, is that we're going to see our teen usage rate skyrocket. And we have a dependency problem in the Commonwealth, and we don't need to add another substance that will further exacerbate that situation.
Back in January, Democratic House Speaker Greg Stumbo sponsored a bill that would make it legal for people to smoke marijuana in Kentucky for medical purposes.